All right, our next question is from Kevin. Portion sizes like Eddie the Strongman. Hi, can you give a little help in the way of portion sizes? I've been eating paleo, low carb, grain, dairy, legume free for about a year, and I feel like I've just recently stopped craving sugar, and it feels liberating. I'm extremely active due to my work. I'm 5'9", 145 pounds, lean male. In order to feel full, my meals, 3 or 4 a day, are absolutely giant. Usually I have focused on about 8 to 10 ounces of protein per meal and fill the rest with giant vegetable portions. Recently, due to all that vegetable bloating the heck out of my belly, I have switched to more like 16 to 20 ounces of protein and a bit less veggies to cut down on the bloating. This feels better, but it seems like a ton, and I was wondering how this compares to others. Basically, for every meal recently, I throw 16 to 20 ounces of protein in a 10.5-inch or 12-inch cast iron skillet, cook the protein with the fat, and then fill the pan to the top with veggies. I thoroughly enjoy this, but when I explain to some folks I put down 16 or so ounces of beef, pork, fish, chicken, they look at me like I will have colon cancer within the calendar year. I admit I am too darn active, but I have no choice due to work than play. Light details, but I work in the mountains above 8,000 feet and am self-powered everywhere I go with a large pack. Sleep is decent as I work emergency services and sometimes will be up all night working, but not the norm. I get tons of sun, weight is good I think, blood work appears good. Any suggestions on these portion sizes? I feel like I'm going to eat myself into bankruptcy, but need to feed the beast to keep my energy up. I tinker on off with safe starches, but I feel like these make me more hungry and I'm more satisfied with the higher protein. I've also played with carb night like refeeds per John Kiefer when I'm running touch lightweight or low on energy, which gives me a bit of a recharge, but I'm still avoiding grains, dairy, and legumes during the refeed. I generally use fat for flavor per your suggestion, as if I go big on fat, it makes me kind of nauseous and I get less than ideal bowel movements. Although it has been a year on paleo, coming off of 15 years of vegetarianism, I feel like I have yet to find the optimal balance and I'm constantly tinkering. My body comp has changed drastically as I've noticed I now have muscles and carry about 3 to 5 extra pounds that I believe is muscle. Help me please, I very much enjoy your work. You are a good person.
So, I mean, the main question here is, is he eating too much protein and is he going to get the cancers from it and all that stuff? I did a talk on will low carb diets shorten your life, and as part of that I dig into this thing called the mid-Victorian diet, and it's really interesting because it looks at people living in the UK, the mid-Victorian era, early 1800s. Food quality is pretty low, health is poor. As food distribution networks get better established and some improvements in animal husbandry and farming practices occur, people eat more fish, people eat a lot more protein from ruminants in particular, and then more fruit. And not surprisingly, there's about an 80-year period there that this occurs, and people get taller, they get healthier, their average lifespan is as good as what it is today, arguably even better, and this is pre-antibiotics, pre-surgery, all this stuff. And then they start industrializing their food system, and everybody gets, like, there's a 6 inches of height loss, the lifespan plummets, until the mid 1940, 1950 do we start seeing a food system that's able to feed people adequately to start undoing some of that stuff. So these folks were very, very active. The males on average ate about 4,500 to 5,000 calories a day. They had an activity level that supported that. The women were very, very active too. Similar caloric intake, just smaller body frame. And these people were not succumbing to the diseases of Western degenerative disease because they ate a largely whole unprocessed diet. They got adequate protein, which was quite a lot of protein. At least a gram of protein per pound of body weight was kind of the norm for these folks, and good nutrient density. So on the one hand, there's nothing compelling about this that has me worried about the cancer and, what is it from Deadpool? El cancer? How do you say cancer in Spanish? El cancer. I'm just not, and then part of the question too is like, okay, what else are you going to do? You've tinkered with eating more starchy type things and you don't feel as good and you actually get more hungry, which is kind of the thing that I've experienced, and is this kind of roller coaster I'm always on. And it was kind of the magic of the first time I went low carb. I wasn't always hungry. And I know that for some people, like if you get real geeked out on the endocrinology, insulin should be anorexigenic. It should make you full. And I think in normal people, like normal human physiology, that should be true, but not that many of us are normal. Like there's different elements, gut dysbiosis, different elements of kind of broken that. And so it sounds like what Kevin is doing is working. I appreciate that it's probably not the cheapest way to eat, but you're also investing in your health and your long-term physicality. So
and he's so incredibly active. Like if his activity level dropped, but it sounds like I can't because that's his work.
Right.
He probably would drop that.
And again, I've experienced the same thing where if I add too much outside fat, I get the trots also. Digestive support helps that for sure. Betaine hydrochloride, the apple cider vinegar caps. It sounds like just fat absorption may be a real issue. So doing something like ox bile, which helps you to emulsify and absorb those fats. And then tinkering with, like I noticed that starches I don't do that well with, like so, but real small amounts. But like berries and melons, if to the degree I can tolerate things, berries, melons, mangoes, papaya, oddly enough, the high glycemic load tropical fruits I actually do comparatively okay on. It tends to not give me massive GI problems, and I tend to not have as much of the blood sugar highs and lows to the degree that I stick those in the rotation.
Okay.